questions about the Google Meet session or anything like that before we get started with the actual content? Okay, I don't see any, but if you're still typing, feel free to continue typing and we will make sure that your questions get answered. So a lot of us already use Facebook. I think I'm friends with most of you all that are already in here. And if this seems a little bit too slow for you and we get started and it's like, oh, this is boring me to death, speed me up. Or I promise I won't be offended if you leave because it's not helping you. I totally understand. I've been in sessions like that before and I don't want to waste your time. So a lot of things are happening inside of the world. I was going to say inside of Franklin County schools, but it's really just the world. And a lot of times we try to overcomplicate how we talk to parents, and it's just really hard to like get messages out to the masses. Like Erin, I know you probably have what feels like 1,000 parents. And Joey, I know you probably feel exactly the same way. And how do we communicate with those individuals, with those families, but not spend the entire day trying to get a hold of everybody? And in this day and time, I don't know if it's a curse or a blessing, but most people have a Facebook account, luckily, or unluckily, really. And if our people are already on Facebook, why do we have to overcomplicate how we send messages to parents? We know that if we post it on social media, they're going to see it because they're on their social media accounts like 9 hours of a day somehow. I know sometimes I look at my screen time and I'm like, how did I spend that much time on social media? So this session is going to help to show you how we can get the best use out of Facebook when we're trying to communicate with families. And I did get this session approved by Jimmy Pack and Jim Masters and Charla before I added it to the matrix. So everybody is on board and we're going to really focus on how to make this be ethical and how to make it be easy for everybody that is involved. I think a couple of people snuck in after I posted the agenda. So right before we get started, I'm posting that agenda one more time. If you want an editable copy, then the second link will be for you and you can take your notes directly on there. And we'll go ahead and we're going to jump in. So everybody has a Facebook account, right? If you don't have a Facebook account, if you want to jump into the chat and tell me, I'll show you how to set one up. It's super easy. It's just facebook.com. But I think I'm almost sure that I'm friends with every single one of you on Facebook. Maybe not. And if not, we can be. So what I have here, and sorry, I'm going to get a ton of notifications all over my screen because Facebook takes up the entire thing. But what I have here is my public page for instructional technology in Franklin County. So a public page means that anybody can see it. And although its organization is fabulous, like I can set up different topics inside of my page. I can have an inbox specifically for this page. I have everything kind of like in its own little hub. This is kind of dangerous whenever you have things that might be confidential. Like if you plan on inviting your parents to the page and you don't want the whole world to see that Joey Thacker is a parent of a student inside of my class, because they might be able to figure out who Joey Thacker's child is, then they can all see it, if that makes sense. So although the public page is something that I find to be phenomenal for like basketball or after school events or the whole school page, I find that it makes me nervous to have a public page for a classroom teacher. So when I was in the classroom, I did not have a public page. I made mine be private. And whenever you say private, it's really talking about a Google group. So here's how to create those. And I'm going to show you how to create it on a desktop or on a computer. It works exactly the same way on a Chromebook. I'll also hop onto my phone in a second and show you how to navigate with your phone. It looks very similar, but it's just a little different. So to make a new page for your class, up here at the top where we usually see your notifications and look, we got a friend's request and a message and all of that good stuff, you have a little arrow or a little caret, and you're going to see this drop down menu appear whenever you click on that. So we want to go to manage groups. And remember, groups are going to allow you to be private where pages will be public. Okay. So you're going to see all of the pages and groups that you manage up here, and you're going to see the groups that you're in. And if you're like me, I have so many groups that people have added me in that it makes my head want to explode. So I always just ignore those, except for a few of them. But just ignore them because people add you to their MLMs and everything. Like it can be a lot because everybody has a side business. But you're going to click create group, and then you can just give it a title. Now, this can be anything from your name, or it can be add some people, or it could be your class or your school, and then your name, whatever you want it to be. So I have a question pop up. I don't have a manage group option when I click the arrow. Let's see. Are you on your phone, Erin, trying to do it that way?
No, I'm using my computer, but I'm also logged into my personal account. Is that the reason, probably?
I'm logged into my personal as well. I wonder, do you see manage pages too?
A second. I'll show you what's on my thing when it'll let me. Oh, sorry. I was trying to show you my screenshot, but it's not letting me send that.
You can. If you want to jump down to the bottom where you turned your microphone on, you try to share your screen. Let me stop presenting mine and then try it again.
Oh, well, I don't need to take everyone's time. I need to do this.
You're fine though, because if you don't have it, somebody else might not have it either.
So this is my. Oh, it's not popping up in your. Do you guys see it?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, I see it.
Oh, okay.
Your Facebook looks completely different than mine too. But do you see, hang on, let me check the icon here. Do you see no. Click on that little puzzle piece right there beside of your, oh, actually, do you see the icon that's got a number 1 with it and it's got 3 little people?
1 with 3, on which side of the screen?
Where, right above Jessica Rogers' post right now.
Okay, yep.
Click that, because yours looks different. Yours is updated. So if your screen looks like Erin's, click that icon that's blue. Erin, can you move your mouse around on that icon?
Yep.
Click that icon right there, and then come over to the far left-hand side of your screen, and you're going to see where it says create group there. So if you have a fancy-looking new Facebook, yours will be down there.
Thank you, Stella.
I'm so glad you shared your screen because that looks completely different than mine. Mine looks old now.
Okay. Thank you. I'll stop sharing.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Erin, for that. And Amy, did you figure it out too? Did you see that? Okay. If it's not showing up for anybody else, let me know and I will be happy to, okay, sweet. I'm going to share my phone right now too, because it looks a little different on my phone than it does for others. So if we get weird feedback, let me know. Okay, I don't hear anything. Sweet. So inside of Facebook app, go away, on your phone, if you are trying to navigate this on your phone, you're going to click the 3 lines down in the bottom right hand corner that looks like a stack of pancakes or a book. And it will look like this. And this is totally wrong. I'm sorry, but I just find it completely hilarious that there's an icon in there that says dating. Like, where are we in life? Okay, that's off topic. Stella, get it together. So underneath where it says friends, you're going to see groups right there. And then right up here at the main top, you're going to see create. And you'll click that. And then you'll be caught up to where we are on the computer. All right. So does anybody have any questions about any of that so far? Are we good? I think we've covered all of the platforms, unless Android looks different. Maybe you all have the Android part. Okay. So when you click the arrow and you get your manage groups, or you go into groups and you click the create button, you're going to name your group, name it whatever you want. I'm just going to call this one Stella's PD. And you can create one and delete it right after this if you want, because we can make it be private to where nobody can find it. So if you just want to play around with one and not worry about people finding it, we got this. So name it whatever you want to. You can go ahead and start typing in some names of friends if you want. Like, I might type in, well, I can't find anybody. Maybe it's just going slow. Aaron, I'm using you. So I guess you have to type in their email addresses, but I typically don't do that, because if you teach middle school or high school, or you're working with families, you can send a link and then they can request to join the group, and you'll have to approve them anyways. So I would just leave that alone since it's not popping up for me. If it's working for you, feel free to do that. But down here at the bottom, you have the choose privacy, and that part's super important. So when you click that link, if you leave it public, that means anybody who even is not in the group, but anybody that finds the page can see what's been posted. It just makes me nervous. So I always recommend private. And private means that only the members who are in the group can see it. Then after you click private, another little menu item pops up that gives you even more privacy. So you can either hide the group, because it automatically makes it visible to where anybody can find it and request to join. But since we're working with kids, I would even click here and make it be hidden, because then only members can find that group. You'll be able to share a link to it when you share that out with families. So you can put that on your student newsletters. You can put it on wherever you're getting links to people. Or if you leave it visible, if you've got it marked as private, the only thing that they're going to be able to see is your profile picture and the header of your class. They won't be able to see who's in the session, or sorry, who's in the Facebook group or anything like that. So either of those are perfectly fine. You can pick whichever you want. And then if you pin to shortcuts, I'm just going to show you what that looks like in a second. But you don't have to do that. But it means that whenever you click on groups, or whenever you click your little caret, you're going to see a shortcut to this page pretty easy. So I'm going to show you what that looks like in a second. After you have all of that filled out, you're just going to click create, and it will do its magic, and it will take you to your Facebook group. And we'll talk about customization. But the shortcut, you'll see if you click here, and I've got so many, but they're also listed over here if they're not showing up there, because I just have too much stuff going on. But over here to the side, you're always going to see a shortcut to this group. So you don't have to go and try to find it. You can just easily click on it and go from one group to another, or you can go back from your mainstream to your private group here. So, oh, Amy, thank you. I'm going to join that in just a second. Aaron, I think you totally could make yours public. And for you, you can make it a group or a page, either one. A group would probably be fine that way. The only thing with the pages is that people can directly message that page, and I find that there's just too many ways that people try to communicate with me. So if I see an email, I'm always going to answer it, but I feel like a total eel whenever I don't see a message and it's been in there for like a week. So you can totally make it be public. That's what I did for the instructional technology one.
And so that way they won't be able to email me, so I wouldn't feel the obligation to check that all the time, correct? If I make it a group? Okay.
Exactly. Because people message those social medias like, it's like, okay, excuse me, could you just email me because I'm confused? All right. So once you get your group created, it's going to look just like what you're used to. And anything that you post inside of here is going to be posted only to that group. It won't be posted onto your public or your personal Facebook page if you are inside of the group when you post it. So if I wanted to say, hey, students, and just do a personal announcement, I could do that exactly the same way that we do with anything else on Facebook. You can add a photo or a video. So if you have anything saved to your computer, you can upload it there. But if it's like a Screencastify link, instead of downloading the Screencastify, then uploading it back into Facebook, what I would recommend doing is just sharing a link to it. You can do a live video if you want to. So instead of like a Google Meet call, if you ever wanted to do a quick little parent night to where they could just ask questions, you could totally do that on Facebook. And then you got more where you can add a file, so you can upload anything that's saved to your computer. Again, if it's something in Google Drive, I would just share the link instead of uploading a file. But you got events and other stuff inside of there as well. So those are the top icons. You've also got like watch parties if there's a certain basketball game going on that you want your players to watch all together. You could do that watch party. If you had a political event because you're teaching U.S. history, you've got that. So anything that's you can watch together, you can have like a live comment section going on. That could be dangerous, especially if it's a political example. Don't do that. That might be a bad example. I don't want to get anybody into trouble there. But one of my favorite things about this is that you could have everything posted here. And then down here in the middle of this, you're going to see a poll. So you could ask a question. And then you can go down here and you can have like multiple choice questions. The students or the families would select one of those, and it's going to show you a bar graph of how the responses happened. And after the students or the families vote, they'll be able to see that bar graph as well. So that's a pretty interesting feature inside of there. So underneath the poll, you do have poll options, and you can turn off the part where it says allow anyone to add options. And you can also turn off where people can choose multiple options if you want to do that. The last thing to show you inside of like the making the post is over here beside of the post button, you have a little clock. And if you click that little clock, that means that you can schedule this post to show up on every single time you can schedule this post to show up whenever you want it to be. So if you didn't want this to show up until Friday at 2:23 p.m., you could schedule it to show up then or whenever. That's really handy if you're working late at night, like I tend to do sometimes, and you don't want people to see things until the following day. So you can schedule it, and then it won't show up until that scheduled time. I mean, yes, I'm getting there. All right. Right here on notifications, like every time that someone posts in the group or likes something from the group, you are going to get a notification for that. Sometimes that gets to be a little bit much. And then sometimes I'm like, no, I want to see anytime that anybody interacts with one of my posts. So if you ever want to go in and like turn off your notifications, you can do that and then turn them back on. You can turn on notifications for all posts, highlights, or only your friends if you want to do that. And then where I said that you can get a link and share that with the families, you have beside of notifications, you have share this group. So you can click that and well, that's going to let you share it onto your page. You probably don't want to do that, but where's that link button? Maybe the best way to do it might just be to get the URL. I thought that that was going to give you a specific link, but if you share this URL, and you can make it a bit.ly, and I'll show you how to do that in a second, but anywhere that they can click the link, this link would be fine. Okay. Aaron, there is, but it's a paid feature to do that. That's how Franklin County Schools does. They use Hootsuite. Let me type it because I always want to say Hoot. And that's what they use to get it to communicate. If you're on Instagram, though, then you can have it to share directly to your personal Facebook page. I don't think there's a way to share directly to a group unless you create a different Facebook specifically as pre-K. Like if you had a different Facebook solely for pre-K, it would. Or have a page, that messaging part. So beside of share, you do have more. Confuse my computer. More. Scrolling. And this is where you can go in and you can invite members. If you have a content partner or a co-teacher that you want to help moderate this group, you can totally add them. My computer is being crazy. And then you can archive the group if you ever want to do that. So inside of here, you can see the members. You can kick people out if you want to. You can have events and all of that. So there is a way to have people's posts be approved, I believe. But that might be a page. Amy, have you ever had anything where you've had like a group that you've moderated to where you had to approve the posts?
I set up a Facebook page for our department, but I've never had to do any moderation, really. I've set it up, though, so that we had to approve before anything got posted, and I've never had any bad posts.
Okay. But when we have students involved.
Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
I found it. So, and that's a really good point, and one that I probably wouldn't have thought about if you hadn't asked that question. So thank you for bringing that up.
Sure.
So when we have kids and families, and sometimes you know how people on Facebook are just completely different than people are in real life, and we want to approve the posts We want to read through them before anybody posts anything onto the stream. So to do that, you're going to click More, and you're going to go down to Edit Group Settings. That's where you can go in and give your group a description if you want to do that. You can have your hashtags or anything that you want to do there. I'm going to scroll down because there's tons of different things up there. But right here where it says posting permissions, you can change it to where only admins, being you and whoever you are letting be a co-moderator of this group, can post on the page. Or you can say post approval. All group posts must be approved by an admin or moderator. So that means that anybody that makes a status on the group, that would have to be approved by you or whoever else has access as an admin in that group. And you just press save. And then anytime that somebody tries to post into that group, they would have to get that approved by you. Like, there's all kinds of different customized things inside of there. Okay, so the only thing that I've really skipped over is something that comes up often whenever we talk about creating a Facebook for purposes like this. So when we post inside of a Facebook group, it's linked specifically to our personal Facebook account, which isn't a huge deal normally. But in this life, I mean, people can click on my name and it's just going to show them right off the bat, like every time that I've posted in this group, it's just going to give them a rundown. On the phone, it's a little bit harder to click view profile than it is on the computer. It's a little bit more hidden. They have to click some dots and click view profile, but know that they can find your profile that way, which typically is not a big deal. Like, I don't know about you all, but I'm friends with tons of families of kids that I've taught before, but sometimes that just makes me a little nervous. So if you want to create a new Facebook to create your group with, I totally understand that. And you can click the caret again, and you can go down. Oh, look, switch to new Facebook. That's probably what you all have. But you can log out and you can create a new Facebook just for that group. And Amy said that's what she did. Aaron, what are you not seeing how to get? Was that the...
I was trying to figure out how to make it where posts had to be approved.
Okay. And I probably went through that way fast.
Hold on, Erin.
Yeah.
I have the new updated Facebook like you do,
Mhm.
and it looks completely different than everything Stella is showing on here.
Yes, I'm struggling.
If you go to the left-hand side and scroll down, there is a place that says settings, and that's where I went. And then it says manage discussion. It's like you have to scroll down a little bit on that page, said manage discussion,
Okay.
and then do you see that?
Yep. Who can post, approve? Yeah.
Yep, and that's where it says approve all member posts. You can turn it on or off.
Okay. Thank you. Got it.
You're welcome.
I really like the new Facebook. Like, it seems easier than the old style that I was using. So if you're stuck like me, you can click on your caret and go switch to new Facebook, and you'll see the new ones.
The only problem is I can't figure out how to share. Like, there's not a share to share the link to your group. I haven't found it yet. I can't seem to find a way to do that in the new Facebook.
You can copy this URL up here at the top. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, so you just copy instead of sharing it where you had hit the share button
Yeah, because then if you shared it like the way that that share button did, it would really just post on your personal Facebook.
Oh, okay.
So,
So then we just copy the URL link and just post it in.
yeah.
Okay.
And if you want, if you're printing these newsletters off for parents, like for back to school bash, if that's not virtual and you're not giving them something they can click on, you can always go to bit.ly, bit.ly, and it will let you create a short link. I know that not everybody always knows that. This is completely free. I always just click log in and log in with Google. The first time, click sign up and sign up with Google. There is a premium version, but I've never paid for it and I've never felt the need to. But you can get that URL and take it over to the bit.ly website once it gets logged in. Does its magic. Click your create button. And it gives you like all these little numbers too that you can see how many times your page has been clicked, which is pretty cool. Paste that long URL and it's going to create a short one, but you can even customize that to have whatever you want. So like if I wanted to say Pollard 2020, that's probably taken, but I could press save and I just have to keep looking until I find one that's not taken. And then I can use that instead of that long URL. So that's pretty handy to have. All right. So for me, that is pretty much everything that I had planned on talking about. But I want to pause and give you all a chance to ask any questions or add anything that maybe I skipped over. And I would love to hear your input. And while you all are doing that, I am going to get your sign in sheet posted so I can make sure to give you your PD. Oh, and I put sing in, sorry, instead of sign in. I promise I know how to spell sign. So the first one is going to be how you get your PD credit. The second one is anonymous feedback form. So while we are filling those out, and I know some people can't multitask, so if you need to take me out for a minute, you're more than welcome to. I do have a couple of things that I just want to talk to y'all about. The first one is, do you all think that Facebook is going to be like effective? Or if you used it last semester, do you think it was effective for families? And if you're filling out your form, don't feel rushed to come back to that answer. So I'm going to let me type the questions instead.
Hey, Stella.
Yes.
I'm trying to do the sign-in form, but this session is not listed.
I forgot. Why do I do that all the time? All the time. Okay, let me fix it. And then you all can refresh. I'm just calling it Facebook. I'm going to make it be the first one in the drop-down menu. Sorry about that. If you refresh the form, you will see it now. And I'm also going to make it be number one in the feedback form too. That's Facebook. when you get those filled out, if you would go to the chat box and check out some questions that I'm posting. These are just, one of them is completely on task and one of them is just, I want teacher input. Julie, that's the way that I think a lot of teachers feel. And I had a couple of principals reach out to me about wanting this session added to the matrix, but none of the people from their schools are on here. So I agree wholeheartedly that if you are using multiple places to communicate, it can be so overwhelming. So I know that as teachers, we're trying really hard to make sure that we're communicating with families. But last year, I was in Audrey's Facebook group on her remind message and also on the email list. So every time that the teacher was sending something out, I got things 3 times, which wasn't a huge deal, but I can understand how if the parents aren't in education, that they could be confused by that. They do check Facebook more than I see. They check it when they're at red lights. They check it when they are eating. Yes, absolutely. I agree, Amy. And that's why I wish that there were more hours in a day where I could schedule up some one-on-one meetings with like principals and show them maybe some things with Google Sites, or just have like one congruent form of communication across the district.
I would love that.
Me too, but sometimes people don't listen to me. Or like the teachers where we haven't had a congruent form of communication across the district. Our teachers at different schools are very effective with one method, and then another school is very effective with a different method. So at this point in time, I don't want to make things any more complicated for educators than they need to be. Whatever works best for the educator to make our teachers not want to cry, that's what I want. That's what I want. I just want to hug everybody and be like, we're going to get through this in my best governor voice. Amy, I actually did add something like that on there. I need to probably change the title to make that make more sense. It says scan documents, but they can use that same thing to take a picture and upload that into Google Classroom. But maybe I could do one on the phone. Oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to write that down. That's a really good idea. If you don't know what Amy's talking about, that second thing that I shared out was it's something that I'm working on. I really want to get it done before our schools have back to school bashes next week. I know there's a few next week and a few the week after, but if you've not had a chance to look at it, if you would bookmark this and give me some feedback on things that you think would be effective for our parents to have little tutorials on, like every one of these colored dots is a resource or a video that I've created or somebody else has created to show families how to use that resource. I was really full steam last night and had all of these ideas. And then I hit a roadblock. Like I think I mentally exhausted my brain and I just was like blank and couldn't think of anything else. So if you have a chance later on to take a look at this and give me some feedback, I would love that. I have one more link to share with you. I'm not going to ask your feedback for it though, because I know you all are probably like me and are like, your brain hurts. I do have a toolkit that I created. I know that some principals have sent this out to their staff and some have not yet. I sent it out about 2 weeks ago. It might be buried in your mailbox, and if so, that's completely fine. There's a video that'll show you how to do this, but this link will have resources to show you some of the most common things that teachers will use inside of virtual learning. So it's kind of like a toolkit. The pictures are going to load finally. I have the basics, the virtual instructions, must-haves, and then the extras to make it kind of glitzy. So if you feel like you are completely new to all of this, you can use any of those resources to help you get started. I'll share that out. Don't feel like you have to go look at it right now. And then if you have filled out that PD form for me, at least the first link, if you didn't fill out the anonymous one, that's okay. But the first link is how I get your PD credit. If you filled that out, feel free to use the last 15 minutes of this session to go and explore the Facebook group stuff that we've talked about, or to explore any of the other links that I've shared. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I am going to stop the recording, and I'll still be here till 2. Stop.